We've had the intelligence service and whatnot for years. But there's a ton of people, Farron. Everybody always thinks Doyle, Doyle, Doyle. Well, I don't do websites and all that all by myself. There's an immense amount of people that help with the houroftheTime.com, all our broadcasting, which is on 24 hours a day streaming, replays of different shows, request shows that I've done, special series, research articles, Rob in Canada, the co-host and webmaster, and all your Jerrys and Toms and Paul and Ann's and Scotts and Adams out there. The huge thanks to all of them, Herbal Eve, etc., and all the people that help keep this operation going, because we're a listener-supported operation. We refuse to take advertising. We're not going to be at the beck and the call of some advertiser for money to fund this. Never have been. Now, I do not think there is a mass awakening, Farron, and I know that goes contrary to popular belief. But let me tell you something. Having been involved in the Patriot movement, if you will, or the freedom movement since the 80s, there has been a lot of changes, and a lot of it for the worse. The Internet has not necessarily helped the spread of information. It's helped a lot in the spread of disinformation and rumors and lies and false flag operations. The fifth column element has taken huge advantage of it, and sheeple are so damn ignorant that they take every email they get of a UN camp around the corner, and they just forward it on to hundreds of people, or black helicopters everywhere, guillotines on train cars everywhere, and just run with it without ever doing any research. And they've actually hurt the credibility of the Americanism movement to a great extent. I also find that, yes, we are getting a lot more younger people involved than in the older days, but a lot of them expect that freebie handout. They've got that sense of entitlement because of the public fool system, and everything should be a free download, never mind that you spent 25 years researching and producing a book and video. They should be allowed to pirate it, and you should not be able to pay back even your basic production cost. So it's socialism at work. Now, what can we do? Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Get your research in hand. Listen to proper broadcasters. Don't believe anything they say. Don't believe what I say. Go verify it. Me and Bill have preached that since day one. Go verify everything. You need to be ready because there are some bad times coming, Farron. People need to have seed, solar, ammo, medical skills. That's why we hold our annual HOT conferences. Details of that are on our website. Now, we're booked full. We were booked full months ago for our September conference. But if there's a large enough group of interest, we will do on-site week-long conferences in your neck of the woods, for instance, right in your backyard, per se.
We'd love to. We'd love to have that, Mr. Shanley.
We teach the skills that people need to know. This year's emphasis is urban training, and that's all I'll go into on the air. Everything else is on the website. It's your show. I don't want to take away from you, Farron.
Oh, you're fine. We are honored to have you with us. And something that you said that I believe 100%. We hear other radio talk show hosts saying, oh, there's a mass awakening, mass awakening. Me and Brian sit here and we say, well, you know what? We don't know what's happening in California or Oklahoma or Texas or anywhere else. But here in Statesville, North Carolina, there is not a mass awakening. I can testify to that. And I believe what you're saying 100%. And I really, while I've got you on the air, I would like to thank you for the work you've done, your whole life, and the work you're doing for the truth, because the truth can't be steered. It's a vehicle that takes us wherever it goes, and that's what we're trying to do here on the Real News. We don't have the background, haven't been doing it as long as you, but we're trying to do legitimate research and report the truth. So with that said, we've got just a couple minutes left. I'd like to give you the last word, and again, I would like to thank you, and I'd like to have you back on from time to time to just update what y'all are doing there on the Hour of the Time broadcast.
Well, thank you again, Farron. I've been a guest on a lot of broadcasts, let me tell you, and done a lot of hosting myself on our radio network, and you've been an excellent host. Thank you. I get hosts that I just pull my hair out through the whole interview, and this has been a nice, enjoyable interview. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to look for the truth. And like he says, the vehicle, it takes you where it's going to go. On an interview, the last one, by the way, that very question was asked to me about the mass awakening maybe a month and a half, 2 months back, and that was the last time I was ever asked back on. They couldn't handle the truth. They wanted this rosy picture that they were out there waking everybody up and educating everybody, and all they did was mumble and gripe and complain. You know what? I'm sick of hearing it. I don't want to hear anymore that I don't have money to buy seeds. I don't have money to do this. I don't have time to do that. That's all bullshit. I do it. Bill did it. Hundreds of us around us do it at the hour of the time. Farron's doing it. Quit making excuses. Look yourself in the mirror. Accept the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that you were a sheeple most of your life, but it's time to wake up and correct that. Change yourself. Now,
well, thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for joining us again, Mr. Sham. We'd like to have you back on from time to time. We've got a couple things we've got to do. We've got about 4 minutes left. So, again, I want to thank you for joining us on The Real News today.
Sure. Thank you, Farron.
You have a good day, sir.
You too.
Okay, next week on The Real News, we have Bob Chapman, International Forecaster. I believe the website, Brian, is theinternationalforecaster.com.
Yes, the International Forecaster.
We are going to be going to Washington, D.C. this weekend, hopefully getting some interviews with Virginia Fox. We've tried to line up some other events, not certain if they will come through, but hopefully next week we will have some more information to report. And any news you'd like to cover, Brian? We've got just a few minutes left before we go off the air. And go ahead.
In 1933, the American press was proud that Hitler adopted its propaganda methods. Nothing has changed. This is from Washington's blog. In 1933, the American advertising industry proudly and publicly boasted that Hitler was copying their American propaganda techniques. After Hitler and Goebbels gave a bad name to propaganda, Freud's nephew, psychologist Edward L. Bernays, simply rebranded propaganda as public relations and professional journalism. Edward L. Bernays, the so-called father of public relations, wrote about the invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. He was referring to journalism, the media. That was almost 80 years ago, not long after corporate journalism was invented. It's a history few journalists even talk about or know about, which began with the arrival of corporate advertising. And later down the article here he states, in 1983 the principal global media was owned by 50 corporations. In 2002 it had fallen to 9, and today it's probably about 5. Rupert Murdoch has predicted that soon there will only be 3 global media giants. And
yeah, we reported some time back how few it had fell to, and I believe it was 5. All of your corporate-owned media, 5 corporations, MSNBC, that's Microsoft NBC, General Electric owns a lot of it, Disney owns a lot of it. That's why when you turn the stations, you get the same news from each one. Well, we've got a couple minutes left. We're going to be putting together a series, Is Our Constitution in Suspension? It's probably going to be around the 1st of September before we get into this. We've lined up some guests. I know everyone's going, what are you talking about, the Constitution suspension? There's a lot of evidence out there that I think will shock everyone. We've got some audio tapes of some senators admitting to this. A lot of evidence going to be coming out. I think everyone will find this interesting. We're going to do 1 hour of the 2 hours each week on this for however long it takes. Then we're going to try to consolidate the interviews down to a DVD that we can give away. So I urge everyone that's interested in this to look into the War Powers Act, March 9th, 1933, and some of the legislation that was passed by FDR.
It explains a lot of things. I always urge everyone, to take all the dots and connect them, however, whatever works. And this explains a lot of the dots.
Yeah, this is totally unreported, and it is a series of miracles that we will explain how this information came to us through some gentlemen right here in Iredell County, Catawba County, and we're going to be passing out that information. I think everyone will find this very interesting, hopefully, and we will have more on that each week. And next week we will report what transpired while the Real News crew was in Washington, D.C. Until next week, this is Farron, Brian, Ty, and Jim from the Real News crew saying, God help us all.